saying that you need to attract what you desire. But let me reveal something that few truly understand. When you need something, you're essentially telling the universe that you don't have it. It's this message of scarcity that you're transmitting into the quantum field. I don't have. That's the frequency you're sending out. The universe operates under the law of correspondence, a timeless hermetic principle that teaches us as above, so below, as within, so without, giving you more of what you emit. Lack. It sounds crazy, doesn't it? It feels insane. But this is exactly how we've been led to believe it works. We think long enough about it. We visualize every detail clearly. We speak aloud to make it real. We repeat affirmations endless times until our minds are exhausted. We raise our arms to the heavens as if negotiating with a distant deity. We plead with God so intensely that our voices grow hoarse and our hearts become weary. And eventually they tell us, the universe will respond. If you believe this, I'm afraid to say it bluntly, but you're doing it all wrong. And before you feel attacked, take a breath. You're not alone. You haven't failed. You're not the problem. This is precisely what most people do. This is exactly what millions of well-meaning seekers do every day. Because this is what is taught about manifestation. This is what popular books sell. This is what courses promise. This is what social media glamorizes. But there's a fundamental issue here. A flaw so deep that it often goes unnoticed. All this effort is coming from a place of lack. The trap of desperate repetition. Pay close attention. When you find yourself repeating, I am abundant 1,000 times, your nervous system is screaming the opposite. The very need to repeat is a silent confession that you don't believe it. You're trying to convince yourself, not align yourself. When you desperately visualize that million in your bank account every day, yet open your eyes and feel the tightness in your chest upon seeing the stack of bills, you've just canceled out all that visualization. Not with your words, but with your emotional frequency. When you beg the universe, you position yourself as small, needy, and insufficient, hoping that something greater will take pity on you and finally give you what you long for. This isn't manifestation. This is spiritual begging. And the universe, or the quantum field, or God, or whatever you prefer to call this infinite intelligence, does not respond to begging. It responds to correspondence. As the mystic Neville Goddard taught, stop asking. Start assuming. The feeling of desire is the confession of not having. The feeling of fulfilled desire is the secret. Notice the subtle yet revolutionary difference? It's not about what you want. It's about who you are while wanting it. Are you being someone who doesn't have and needs to receive? Or are you being someone who already has and is simply allowing that to manifest physically? This distinction changes everything. You need to understand that the quantum field doesn't judge. It mirrors. And since the field doesn't judge, it doesn't decide if you deserve or not. It simply mirrors. It corresponds exactly to the frequency you're emitting, whether consciously or unconsciously. And the dominant frequency in humanity, masked as manifestation techniques, is fear. It's scarcity. It's, I don't have yet. It's the emotional desperation wrapped in spiritual wrapping paper. Dr. Bruce Lipton, a cellular biologist and pioneer in epigenetics, discovered something revolutionary. Our cells don't respond to what we consciously think. They respond to the signals from the environment that we interpret, and 95% of that interpretation comes from the subconscious, not the conscious mind. So you can declare, I am wealthy 10,000 times. But if your subconscious carries beliefs like, money is hard to come by, rich people are bad, or I don't deserve abundance, beliefs you might not even realize you have, ingrained from childhood, culture, or family lineage. Guess what message your 37 trillion cells are transmitting to the field? You can bet it's not the beautiful affirmation repeated 10,000 times. It's that buried belief in your subconscious. And the field, being infinitely precise, responds to belief, not performance. That's why so many dedicated, sincere, disciplined manifestors stay frustrated. They're playing the wrong game. They're fighting at the symptom level, not the root cause. They're trying to paint a new wall over a decaying structure. And in the end, they give up. And no one can judge them because it's incredibly tough to fight against what you can't see. The limiting beliefs rooted in the subconscious. As Einstein said, no problem can be solved from the same level of consciousness that created it. Can you grasp the depth of this? Your mind relies on your beliefs to generate all the scarcity in your life. It doesn't see a way out. It only sees lack, hardships, problems. So how can we expect that this same mind will bring us the solution when it's vibrating on the problem? This is why you declare, but don't manifest. If you're stuck in a scarcity mindset, no amount of techniques executed from that perspective will work. Because the technique is not the power, you are the power. The technique is just a tool, and a tool at the wrong frequency produces no results. So yes, most people are doing it wrong. Not out of blame, but due to collective misinformation, superficial teachings, and empty promises from gurus selling magic formulas without understanding the physics behind manifestation. But now you know. And knowing is the first step toward true change. Not the performative change you pretend through affirmations, but the essential, cellular, quantum change, where you stop trying to attract and start tuning into what already exists, waiting for you in the infinite field of possibilities. But before we go further, I need to ask you something. Do you agree that if this really worked the way we were taught, everyone would manifest what they want instantly? So why are so many people still stuck, still waiting, still doing everything right, visualizing daily, repeating affirmations like mantras, yet seeing absolutely nothing change? Why does the bank account remain empty? Why hasn't the relationship arrived? Why is health still just out of reach? Why does prosperity feel like a distant mirage? Maybe it's not you. Maybe you're not the problem. Perhaps the underlying structure is broken. The model we were sold is incomplete. The formula has a fundamental flaw. Because the truth is, you don't attract, you tune in. You align with the field. Yes, hear that again, slowly. Let it sink in. Visualize this phrase well. You do not attract, you tune in. You align with the field. The reality you desire isn't something out there, far away, needing to be pulled into your existence through Herculean effort, exhaustive visualizations, or repetitive affirmations until you're mentally drained. It already exists. It's already vibrating somewhere in the infinite quantum field of possibilities. All versions of your life, the prosperous, the healthy, the abundant, the loving, are already present as quantum potentials. As quantum physicist Amit Goswami teaches, the universe is self-referential. You are the universe observing itself. You collapse the wave function through your consciousness. The only true question is, are you corresponding to it? Are you vibrating at the same frequency as the reality you wish to experience? This is where the paradigm completely shifts. This question changes everything, because now it's not about effort. It's not about willpower. It's not about how many hours you visualize or how many affirmations you repeat. It's about frequency. It's not about saying the right affirmation 1,000 times. It's about becoming the version of yourself who no longer needs to say it because they already dwell in that reality internally. Neville Goddard, one of the masters of conscious manifestation, said, "It's not what you want that you attract. You attract who you are. Change who you are, and you will change what you attract." And that's where true change begins. You do not attract what you want. You attract what you are tuned into. This is the raw, unfiltered truth, and most people, unknowingly, unconsciously, are tuned into fear. You want abundance, but you wake up every morning with a tight heart, thinking about bills. Your body is in survival mode, not prosperity mode. You want love, but your inner dialogue is a constant barrage of self-criticism, of "I'm not enough," of fear of abandonment. How do you expect to attract love when you're projecting rejection? You want health, but you live in a chronic state of stress, anxiety, and worry. Your nervous system is always on high alert, telling your body that you're in danger. And a body in danger doesn't heal. It survives. This is the dissonance that sabotages everything. Now, let me show you how this plays out in real life. Because what I'm about to share isn't about abstract theory or distant philosophical concepts. These are stories of real people with real dreams who were stuck in exactly this dissonance until they finally understood what was truly happening. These are accounts from two individuals who graciously shared their journeys so you can see the reflection of your own story within them. And perhaps, upon hearing what happened when they stopped trying to attract and started tuning in, something will awaken within you too. Sarah Mitchell, 41 years old, Portland, Oregon. I spent 3 whole years doing everything the manifestation book said. I'd wake up at 5 a.m. to visualize, had a huge vision board on my bedroom wall, and repeated affirmations in the mirror every day. I wanted financial freedom. I wanted to escape debt. I wanted to see money flowing into my life. But month after month, all I saw were more bills, more stress, more anxiety. Until one day, I realized I was asking for abundance with the frequency of desperation. Each affirmation I made came with a tightening in my chest, with a deep fear that nothing would change. When I finally understood that I needed to stop trying to attract and start tuning into the feeling of already having, everything changed. Not overnight, but it changed. I began making different decisions, relating to money in a new way. 6 months later, I received a job offer that tripled my income. But the most important part? I already felt prosperous before the money came. That made all the difference. Jennifer Kowalski, 39 years old, Austin, Texas. I was stuck in a vicious cycle. I wanted a loving relationship, but every time I met someone, I'd start sabotaging things because deep down, I didn't believe I deserved to be loved. I went to therapy, read dozens of self-esteem books, tried every manifestation technique I could find. But nothing worked because I was operating from a place of lack, from emotional neediness. It wasn't until I started working on my energy field, when I learned to tune into the frequency of someone who already feels complete, that things began to shift. I stopped seeking external validation. I stopped needing someone to complete me. And it was precisely at that moment, when I finally felt whole on my own, that I met my partner. He appeared so naturally, so organically. It felt like the universe was just waiting for me to stop begging and start embodying the love I wanted to receive. These accounts are not exceptions. They exemplify what happens when you understand that manifestation is not about force. It's about frequency. It's not about how much you want something. It's about who you're being while you vibrate. The dissonance that sabotages everything. The quantum consciousness does not respond to what you say. It responds to what you emit. And if there is a gap between what you're affirming and what you're feeling, the field will always respond to the feeling because emotion is energy in motion, and energy doesn't lie. You can deceive your conscious mind. You can convince it with logic, with reason, with brilliant arguments, but you cannot deceive the field. It feels you on a cellular level, on a vibrational level, on a quantum level. And if you're vibrating fear disguised as desire, the field will reflect back. More situations validating your fear, more reasons to doubt, more evidence that you were right to worry. Not because the universe is cruel, but because it's precise. Dr. Joe Dispenza, a neuroscientist and researcher of the human mind, explains, "You cannot create a new personal reality with the same personality. Your personality creates your personal reality. To change your reality, you must literally become someone else. Becoming someone else doesn't mean pretending. It means tuning into a different frequency. It means aligning your energy field with the version of yourself that already lives the reality you desire." How the quantum field really works. The universe is not reactive to language. It is responsive to coherence. Coherence happens when your heart, mind, and body are aligned, not in words, but in energy. And that's when everything changes. So here's the invitation. Stop trying to attract. Stop trying to pull a reality toward you as if it's distant. It isn't. It's already here, just vibrating at a different frequency. You don't need to chase it. You need to resonate with it. This means letting go of fear. You have to release resistance. You must stop emitting panic and calling it intention. You need to abandon the belief that more effort equals faster results, because the quantum field doesn't respond to pressure. It responds to presence. The universe is not silent. It is vibrational, and you are always in conversation with it, whether you realize it or not. Every thought you have, every emotion, every micro-reaction you experience is a signal sent to the quantum field. There are no neutral moments. There's no off switch. Even when you're not trying to manifest, you are manifesting, because your frequency never stops transmitting. This is the part most people miss. They think the field responds only when they meditate, visualize, or journal. But the truth is much more intimate and confrontational. The field isn't activated by your rituals. It's activated by your state, your nervous system, your emotional baseline, your dominant beliefs, especially the ones you might not even realize you're carrying. That is the real frequency you are emitting. And it's that frequency that the field mirrors back into your life experience. Your electromagnetic signature. Dr. Joe Dispenza calls this your electromagnetic signature. It is the total vibrational fingerprint of your being. Your thoughts create an electric charge. Your emotions generate a magnetic field. Together, they become a signal, and the field, like a mirror without delay, reflects that signal back as people, opportunities, patterns, delays, synchronicities, or silence. And that reflection never lies. You can't talk your way into a new reality. You can only tune your way into it. The field is not reactive to language. It is responsive to coherence. When your inner world aligns, your outer world rearranges. But when there is misalignment, when you say one thing, feel another, and behave in contradiction to both, the field doesn't punish you. It pauses. It waits. It holds your next timeline until you achieve internal congruence. That's synchronization. You're training your body, mind, and emotional system to recognize a new baseline. Becoming is not about distance, it's about resonance. The timeline you desire is not far away. It's simply vibrating at a level where your current self has yet to stabilize. But every time you make a decision from that place, you close the gap, you collapse the space, you compress time. And eventually, the external world has no choice but to synchronize. So, what does it mean to become? It looks like walking through your day with presence instead of performing. It means choosing to trust the invisible more than familiar evidence. It means breathing differently amidst the same old triggers. It means honoring your vision enough to live as if it's real before it actually is. This is the sacred tension of quantum change, staying true to a frequency before it becomes form, acting not in response to what is, but in devotion to what will be. This requires courage. It requires self-leadership. It demands being so in tune with your future that you no longer collapse back into the past. And yes, the old self will resist. Patterns will pull. Old thoughts will whisper, "See, nothing has changed." But this is the test. This is the edge. This is where most people give up, because they confuse waiting with becoming. But they are not the same. Waiting is passive. Becoming is vibrational action. When you are becoming, you don't beg the universe. You partner with it. You walk as a co-creator. You wake up and tune into your future, not your fears. You speak from a place of embodiment, not entitlement. And you carry a calm certainty, not because you see the change yet, but because you are the change. That's the leap. And right now, if any part of you feels like nothing is happening, that you're doing everything right yet still seeing no results, I want you to pause, feel your body, breathe into your chest, and ask, who am I being right now? Not what you're doing, not what you're waiting for, but what signal are you being? Because that is the only thing the field is responding to. And if the answer is, I'm still becoming, then you are exactly where you need to be. Becoming is the process of teaching your field to believe in you. Not through effort, but through consistency. Not through noise, but through resonance. And the moment that signal stabilizes, everything changes. So today, don't look for proof. Be the proof. Walk as if it's real. Speak as if it's done. Feel as if it's here. And when doubt arises, smile. Not because you aren't affected, but because you remember that doubt is merely an echo of an old self you no longer live as. Now breathe and immerse yourself in the version of you that doesn't rush, that doesn't fear, that simply knows. That version already exists. You are not trying to find it. You are tuning into it with every breath, every thought, every embodied choice. This is how you stop living by circumstances and start living by creation. Because in the quantum, you are not becoming the future. The future is remembering you. Understand that silent changes are the most powerful. Some changes make no noise. There are no applause, no lightning strikes, no validation. But everything has changed. This is the nature of silent frequency. The one that doesn't plead, push, or perform. It simply is. It is the frequency that doesn't need evidence because it is the evidence. The vibration that doesn't chase the future because it embodies it. This is the frequency that resets reality. We have been taught to believe in effort, in control, in force. We've been conditioned to think that only loud changes are real changes. But in the quantum, silence is strength. Stillness is power. Because it is in that inner quiet, when the noise of doubt fades away and the self aligns, that reality begins to reorganize. Let's make something clear. You don't need to announce your transformation to be living it. You don't need to prove anything to anyone, not even to yourself. All you need to do is tune into the self that knows. Because knowing is your own frequency. It's not conceptual, it's cellular. This frequency doesn't come from learning more. It comes from unlearning. From shedding the layers of identity that told you that you had to wait. From discarding the mental rituals that made you feel almost ready. From choosing again and again to show up as the frequency of what you once only dreamed. It's subtle, almost imperceptible from the outside, but inside, it feels like peace, like alignment, like truth. And when that signal stabilizes, not because you forced it, but because you remembered, the field responds. But not in a noisy way. It's organic, in a manner that feels like everything is finally falling into place without explanation. People change. Doors open, opportunities find you, and you won't be surprised because you weren't trying. You were simply matching. Frequency does the work, and the most powerful frequency is the one that doesn't perform. It simply vibrates. Think of it as tuning a radio. You don't shout at the knob. You simply adjust the frequency until you hear the clarity of the station you were meant to receive. It has always been broadcasting. You just needed to align your reception. This is you. This is your life. This is your new reality, already encoded in the quantum, waiting for you to tune in. And now you are. You've stopped trying to attract. You've stopped emitting fear. You've stopped negotiating with your dreams. Now you are resonating, matching, and becoming. So, what happens next? You keep tuning in. Not once, not perfectly, but daily. Through every emotion, every decision, every breath. You continue showing the field that you're no longer aligned with waiting, doubt, or distortion. You are aligned with clarity, confidence, and embodiment. This is the change that no algorithm can capture, no checklist can measure, and no timeline can predict. It's a change that only you will feel first, and then the world will follow. So if you've been here throughout this journey of discovery, pause for a moment. Not to summarize, not to analyze, but to feel. Because something has shifted within you, perhaps quietly, perhaps deeply, but it has moved. And that is the beginning of everything. I sincerely thank you for taking the time to absorb this transformative content. I hope these words have resonated with something profound inside you and ignited a new understanding of how you truly create your reality. Now, I invite you to take the next step. Subscribe to this channel to continue expanding in frequency with a community that is not chasing reality, but consciously collapsing it. Because here, we don't attract, we tune in, and reality always responds. Leave your comment below. Where are you listening from? Which insight from this content impacted you the most? What frequency change are you committed to making from now on? Is there a specific topic on conscious manifestation or quantum physics you'd like us to explore in the upcoming episodes? Remember, you are not alone on this journey. We are a community of conscious tuners, collapsing quantum realities with every aligned breath. Until our next meeting, keep vibrating at the frequency of your highest truth.